My name is Johnny Brackett, and I'm the PR lead at TaskRabbit. I never planned to work in PR. It was never an interest of mine. At my youngest age, I thought that I would be an actor. So I didn't want to major in theater because I was terrified of majoring in that and then it not working out and me not having a backup plan. So surprisingly, I actually wound up choosing journalism to major in at school with another major in political science. But I did a lot of the broadcast journalism, which I think was as close to acting as I could get while getting a more business-oriented degree. My advisor said, well, have you ever considered working in PR? And honestly, I kind of put my nose up at her and was like, no, of course not. Like, I'm not a corporate communications major. No, not that there's anything wrong with that. And she said, well, I think you should look into it. So I started doing a lot of research and I realized that a big component of PR is storytelling and a large component of theater is also storytelling. So there was applicable skills there to kind of go back to my roots.
So how did you evolve from working at these big PR firms to being in-house at TaskRabbit?
I always knew, even at my internship, that I was never going to be in an agency long term. But I think it's critically important and very valuable to start in an agency because you learn skills there that you won't learn elsewhere. So for me, my agency experience was kind of a boot camp. You don't have a say in the companies that you work with or the companies that you represent, and they're very much your entire life. There's no, is this interesting to you? Do you think you could be passionate about this? And then the next thing you know, you're spearheading their media relations campaign. You may not even understand the technology or believe in it. You don't know the executives, but it's your job to make the media love them. It's difficult to represent a brand that you don't feel connected to. I really wanted to find a brand that I was passionate about and that I could be the brand advocate for and that I believed in. And it's also really important to find an executive team that you believe in wholeheartedly. And then I found TaskRabbit.
How do you get your pitches to stand out in these really crowded inboxes or text messages that journalists get all the time?
Yeah, so over the past 5 years of doing this, I've learned what I like to call the art of the subject line. I think how a journalist would think, and so my subject line is a headline. I write my pitch like a small version of what their story is going to be. It takes practice, it takes writing iterations in the same way that a journalist probably writes several versions of a story and throws entire pages away that they agonized over. That's how I approach PR. You have to be willing to be working towards something for 2 weeks, maybe 2 months, and then the direction completely changing. And that's why you work at a startup. If you're not okay with that, don't work at a startup. The first step is reading. So that's where most of my ideas come from, is reading. And I actually read Marie Claire last month next to my friend who also works in PR who was reading Elle, and we're both looking for ways to get into the magazine. And I found this column in Marie Claire called At Work, and I thought, oh, that would be perfect for Leah. So then I read the column, then I found archived issues of Marie Claire and read those columns and tried to figure out how this column is approached. So then I write my pitch, and then peer feedback is really important for pitches because just like how in college when you wrote a paper, or I'm sure you've written stories before and you run them by someone and you think that it is the cat's meow and it's like, this is my best work, and then someone reads it and it's like, I don't get it. You're like, okay, so this needs to be reworked. So the peer review aspect of pitching is very important. So once it goes through that, I'm feeling pretty confident, and then I'll send it. And then generally 15 to 20% of pitches probably get a reply from the first email. So then, there's the follow-up cycle, and if you don't gauge interest, you move on to the next person.
Can you kind of quickly take me through an average day at work for you?
I don't have an average day. I open my email and that is what is going to set the agenda for the day. My hours are always I'm a PR team of one, and I'm so lucky to have the best team on the planet, but It's me who gets emailed first if something is wrong. I know that like if something is bad enough, I will find out, because now there are enough ways to contact people that you can be always on, but like be relaxed until your phone goes off. But like, no, I never turn my phone off. I don't think I ever will. I struggle if I go on vacation and, you know, I put an out of office on, I have to check my email. Like I can't, even my out of office says like, if this is urgent, please send me another email with urgent in the subject line. So I did just go on a quick vacation with my family, and it's like every 15 minutes I was scrolling for the word urgent. And my coworkers and friends like screw with me and, you know, will like put urgent in a subject line, and then I'll open it and it'll be like a Beyonce meme of her dancing. I'm like, this is not urgent. Well, I guess it kind of is. You know, my desk, I'm pretty OCD about keeping it tidy and clean. I can only write with a specific pen, and it's a Bic G2, and I have to have several of them because I lose them all the time. Part of my job is being able to work anywhere, so you'll find me sitting on the floor at Disrupt, you know, an airport floor, side of the street. I've camped outside of the Apple store. I have worked in a fur-covered van for 6 days. You have to be able to go with the flow. Of course, you have your preferences, but you got to be able to throw those preferences out the door, because most startups are gonna have you be pretty scrappy.
Is PR and communications kind of a thankless job? You're really kind of the person who's behind the scenes in the whole thing.
It depends where you work. So I'm very fortunate that our executive team and my boss, who I consider my friends but also my mentors, see a clear value for PR. I've walked a lot of my friends through this, because they'll get recruitment emails and they're so eager to, you know, only represent one brand and live and breathe one brand. And I'm always the person who's like, you need to stop, you need to research the executive team, you need to research the company, you need to see how the company's doing, you need to love everything. Because if you don't, it's too difficult to be the champion of the brand if you don't believe in it. So believing in it is what makes it not a thankless job, because each time a story comes out, you feel pride, because not just you helped place it, but because it's about the company that you feel a great sense of pride for.
And what's the best part of your job?
My favorite part of my job is how much time I get to spend with our executive team. That's the best part for me, but then also, you know, every Monday we look at the data of user signups and tasks posted and how we performed the week before, and seeing days with big spikes and being able to say, you know, oh, that was the day that we were in the New York Times. It's like, it feels good.